shooting a video of my latest finds. Yesterday I was going with a buddy of mine. We're going to pick up a Bridgeport mill. It was about 2.5 hours away from where I live, and when we got there, the mill was definitely rough, much rougher than what my buddy wanted to get. But while we were there, kind of asked if they had anything else that was going to be sold, and the one gal I talked to said, yeah, if you see anything interested, just ask. And I seen these two items here, an old anvil and a Roper Whitney punch with a 3/8 punch in it, and asked what you wanted for the punch. And when she said 50 bucks, went on the pile real quick. And when it came to the anvil, it came down to where she said 100 bucks for the anvil, and I said, let's load it up, I'll take it. Wasn't really quite sure at the time what this was all about. I've heard of Trenton. I am not an anvil person in any way, shape, or form, but I've been learning some in the last few months. And what I've researched is the fact that there are some people that say, oh, they had a bad stamping or whatever. But if you could see where the two lines do not intersect at a perfect cross, some people, from what I read, are just saying that it's just a transition of the way they started stamping and changing the stamp, which did make it kind of confusing and did look like an X, where I kind of agree. A couple guys that said they never bought into where they accidentally used the wrong stamp or whatever. It makes more sense to me during this transition. They just, but anyway, it's a Trenton. It's a 140-pound Trenton. 140 pounds. There's the serial number. From what I could see, it places it at between, if I remember correctly, 1943 and 1945. At first, of course, I was looking at definitely some really rough welds, and what I could come up with is that is very typical of these vintage Trentons, where they did weld them on. And I read a couple other views where they didn't really do much grinding or cleaning up, but during wartime, I guess they weren't really too big into the cosmetic part of it. And another thing I wasn't sure of is the face looks excellent. And on the face, I couldn't figure out why this was extra grinding. And from what I kind of found out is it sounds like from the factory it was, you know, it was done that way for, like I say, I'm not a blacksmith, but you know, when you're rolling it over the edge, you know, you don't want the sharp edge in that area. Anyway, X-in shape anvil for $100. I know that was a crazy deal. 3 months ago, I scored another anvil. A buddy of mine actually found it on Craigslist for $180, and I was super quick to respond. I drove a little bit to get it, and it is actually a 136-pound hay budden. The hay buddens, of course, are pretty rough the way they're forged together. This one here, you can clearly see the separation on the top. From the research I did, I believe it's pre-1908 where they had that. It's kind of deadened a little bit, so I don't know what kind of separation is going on here. But it definitely does not have a really good ring. It doesn't bounce a ball really well, but when you have separation here, it's not going to. The numbers on this one, I I tried my hardest to try to see anything I could on it, and I couldn't make out the serial numbers. But all in all, the Hey Button for $180 was also a nice score.